Hello, everyone. This is our Free Alchemy Tesla's Awakening series podcast episode number 3. And today we're doing numerology, sacred geometry, and Metatron's cube. It was the third time Tesla appeared to me. He said, I'm here to teach you about numerology and sacred geometry, the universal language of all things. It's the fabric of creation, numbers. So I'll be honest, I'm not a numbers person. It was my worst subject in math, and I excelled in other things as in honor classes and reading and writing and comprehension. But math just really hard for me. I asked him, I said, why are you channeling to me? Why not go find someone who's a mathematician or an inventor? And he said, I don't need those things. I just need a clear channel. He said, I don't need another inventor or polymath. He said, I just need someone who will clearly channel. So I was like, all right, I'm in. He brought in Metatron's cube, and he said this shape specifically, it has 13 circles and 78 lines. The circles are feminine and the lines are masculine, and this is a shape that encapsulates all other shapes, the tree of life, the fruit of life, the seed of life, all the Platonic solids. And he said the shape itself is static, meaning it stays the same. But the energy that flows through it is fluid. And he said it's a code, static code, and a fluid key. And it's the map of your consciousness. But the first thing he said was, pay attention to the number 13. See the center circle? He called that the 13. So Metatron's cube, the number 13 he placed in the center. And then he said, if you took and tied a string to the center of this and you pulled it up from a flat image to a 3D image, he said the center would stay the center, but these 6 circles that first surround it would be the 6 chakras that you have inside of your physical body. Your root, your solar plexus, your sacral, the bottom 3, your heart, your throat, your brow, the next 3, then the crown. From the crown up, it's outside of the body. So the chakras inside the body, and then he said you also have chakras outside the body. He said the earth experience and the human experience, mathematics, is based on a fractaled equation of 12. So to take this and pull this up, first you see the spiral staircase of the first 6, and then if you keep pulling, you get the next 6, and then you have a spiral staircase that has 12 circles around it, and that's our consciousness. If you continue to pull it up, they all line up into a tube, into a column of light. That's number 13. That's our central column of light. And when you're raising your consciousness through your first 3 chakras, they're referred to as the primal 3D. And this is a map of human consciousness that first the Arcturians came about 12 years ago and started giving me this map, just the basics, the bare bones of it. Then they worked on it for 2 or 3 years with me, and then they disappeared. And the map kind of just sat dormant. And then a group of Palladians came, and they continued on with the map. And then Tesla came, and he said, I'm here to finalize the map. And he's revealed to me that he's connected to the Arcturians and the Palladians, like we all are, but strongly to the Arcturians. So the first 3 chakras are our primal human, the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus, our physical, emotional, mental body. We're going to pull this up and see this as the 13 and see that it runs right down through the core. And you can count like you're going up steps like this and also out like bandwidths of energy. So the first 3 are primal human 3D. It's kind of our factory settings, how we get along and survive. It's like putting on the scuba suit to go into the subterranean terrain. And so then the next 3, he's referred to as the awakening human. That's the bridge. And those chakras have the gifts that continue the awakening process. The heart is the motor, the generator, the throat, sound and vibration. The brow, it's visionary and imaginary, all things that call forth our reality and help us manifest. The next 3, he's referred to as the 3-ring crown or the 3-ring halo. You've seen the saints with the halo glow. And those all exist in this blue sphere, which is the human earth plane reality. 369 Alchemy, we're going to get to that in a future episode. But when you step out of that, then you're back into the pure light. We don't leave the source, the sun, from which we come, point A, and arrive down here, point B, with a disconnect in between. We are this continuous ray of light, the 13, and it's that elevator shaft, that Sushumna tube that goes right down through our core. But then each one of these spheres, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, are right here. 1, 2, 3, human primal 3D being, and then 4, 5, 6, the heart, throat, brow, all inside the body. But then you go out here and you start 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11, 12. So that's how Metatron's cube is a map of our consciousness and also a blueprint of how we can evolve and ascend. We've got to clear these chakras in the bottom 3, or we're going to keep bringing our conscious seat down into the divides. And even though he referred to them as divine divides because we couldn't be here without them, we have the free will to evolve and ascend past them. So as we evolve and ascend, we can move our conscious seat. We're that point of perception that goes up and down this spectrum of who we are. Maybe some of us have had ayahuasca journeys, or we've fallen deeply in love, or we've held our newborn child for the first time, or we have some kind of instant awakening, our kundalini rises, or we have tantra union, and we leave those bottom 3 chakras and our point of perception rises into the heart, and we get a glimpse of who we are in that unified field. Or perhaps we even get blasted up and out of the earth plane, like some psychedelics or even tantric union can do. And we're outside of the globe of the earth plane. And then we inevitably can't maintain that. We come back down, and sometimes we hit the ground pretty hard, and we're trying to integrate. I was on a starship, I met star beings, I went into some other galaxy. That's all stuff that's happening up here in 10, 11, and 12. I want to tell you one other way that he told me to use Metatron's cube: print out different versions and just look at them, and then close your eyes and meditate, open your eyes, and you'll see it differently. It's a key, so it'll start unlocking things inside of you. He told me that the 13, it has a lot of mystical meaning to it, but he said it represents the core. And this is another thing he shared, that when we're going out, whether we're spirit journeying or exploring who we are in other lifetimes or other cosmos, he said, you can go out infinitely. You can just keep going. Had that experience with him where he took me to the edge of the universe. And the further I got to the edge of the universe, the further the edge of the universe stretched out. And I finally realized I'm never going to reach the end because me being here and looking extends it. But he said, turn towards the core. So I turned towards the core and I started going back the other way towards my core. And all of a sudden I was in the center of who I am, and you're everything, all of it. So another equation that he gives for this is if you lived in a 12-story building plus the rooftop on the elevator shaft, you can take that elevator from the bottom floor, your physical body, up to your emotional body, up to your mental body, up to your heart, to the seat of your soul, to where sound abounds, the eternal Om, to the ability to see as a visionary and then conjure imagery to attract your reality. And you could keep on going. These chakras 7, 8, 9 is where I would always connect with guides. If I was doing readings, I would close my eyes, go into their heart, and then up to this state, which was chakra 7, 8, 9, the realm where the guides reside. And so you could go on up past that and go off the earth plane, outside the earth simulation, and get to chakras 10, which are interplanetary. Chakra 11, you're going back to the garden, again, to that oneness where we all exist in oneness. And chakra 12 he refers to as the Elohim. That's the first part of us that steps out of source as an individual being, very close to that same source energy. So the 12-story building, you can raise that elevator and get off on each floor. And when you do, say that you get off on the 10th floor and all these star beings are there, Pleiadians, Arcturians, Sirians, or maybe you get off on the 8th floor and all the saints and the deities like Saint Germain or Kuan Yin or Buddha or Christ or whatever deities you align with. And maybe you get off on the 9th floor and there's a bunch of angels standing there. When the elevator door opens, who do you think is the first star being you're going to see? Who do you think is the first saint you're going to see? Who do you think is the first ascended master you're going to see? It's you, because we don't leave point A and all of a sudden appear in point B. We are that continuous ray. And like Russian dolls stacked inside of each other, we appear at every realm. And that's why our higher self is not separate from us, our angelic self, our ancestral self. All of that is part of the spectrum that we bring with us. And we go through a veil when you get to the earth plane of forgetting. It's a divine forgetting. Like he said, it's a divine divides that allow us to, like, you have to put on a respirator and goggles to be able to go explore the Great Barrier Reef. We have to put on our own unique lenses and respiratory and depth regulators, like our emotional body and, our mental body, to participate here, to be able to experience this realm. Another great analogy that he gives of this is, imagine that you lived in a building and you were aware of 3 rooms in that building and you had decorated them beautifully and you really enjoyed your 3-room home. And then one day you found a door that led you into this other area, and you grabbed a flashlight and you started exploring. And in there, you found all kinds of treasures. You found other doors, other rooms, but you only had that single point flashlight. And then you'd have to come back into the 3 rooms you're familiar with. Those 3 rooms that you're familiar with are your physical, emotional, mental body. The door to your core is through the center, through your heart. And then you start to find all these treasures, but you're still looking with that single point perception. And then one day, what if somebody flipped a breaker and all of the rooms were available for you and you could take that flashlight and put it away? That's enlightenment. That's when you reach a state where you're giving up that single perception view of you and everything else in this reality and beginning to see it differently. When you realize that you are the building, you contain those 12 floors. The 3 rooms that you've lived in will always be there. It's like climbing a staircase. You reach a certain height, you don't reach down and kick the bottom 3 steps out of your way and say, I don't want to be physical, emotional, or mental anymore. That's so 3D. I don't want to relate. They have to be there in order for us to be here. On the 33, he divides that into the clock. So again, the clock, the 12 faces of the clock, everything he has shared with me has formulas like 12 plus 1. 12 plus 1, think of Christ and the 12 disciples or the zodiac signs. That 12 plus 1 formula is in a lot. It's in our Woven Women's group. It's in the map of human consciousness. There's 4 platforms: the primal 3D, awakened, ascended, and the pure light. 4 platforms, just like the clock. Divide the clock into 4 quarters with 3 each. He says you are a circle quartered and trined throughout time and space. So if you take a circle like a clock face and quarter it and trine it, and then he says the divine triple that continues to ripple and trine throughout time and space is us. He's encouraging me to share the 4-part pie. And so you've heard pie chart. What do you have inside your pie chart? You have a slice of the pie for yourself, for your family, for your job, your career, maybe for your hobbies, your special interests. So a pie chart, and it fluctuates. You can give a little more in this cycle of life to this, and other cycles that you might be cramming for your finals, and that's taking up a lot of your pie chart. So fluctuating pieces of the pie. But he said, if you want to evolve and ascend, and you are a spiritual seeker that knows there's something more to this reality, to balance your pie chart with 3 plus 1. So here's another formula that for almost 20 years, I've heard my guides chanting that I never knew what it meant until Tesla came around. And that is 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1 more equals 4. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1 more equals 4 opens the door to your core and sets you free. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1 more equals 4 opens the door to your core and sets you free. What does that mean? Because 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9 and 1 more would be 10. How could that be 4? But he's not adding up the numbers. He's counting how many threes. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1 more 3 equals 4 threes. So 4 threes, what does that equal? 12 o'clock. And so if you have 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1 more, that 1 more means something different. The 3 threes of the clock, 3 plus 3 plus 3, is 3/4 of the clock. You could fill that in your pie chart with whatever you want. If you're in love, that love might take up 3/4 of your pie chart. If you're going through a diagnosis, that can take up a big part of your pie chart. So pie charts fluctuate through different cycles and seasons. But he said the important thing, if you're a seeker or somebody who wants to evolve your consciousness beyond this earthly matrix, he said at that quarter, that last one plus 1, is important to keep empty. It's the emptiness, the awareness, the self-reflection that's important there. So 3 plus 3 plus 3, whatever you want to put in those 3/4 of your pie chart. But the plus 1, it's about you. It's about your core. It's about your center. It's about being receptive to spirit, to your soul, and allowing that empty space. If not, you're just going to go around and around on a merry-go-round in busyness. And that's fine if that's all that you want out of this dimension is success. But if you want awareness and conscious expansion, a quarter of the pie chart, a quarter of the clock, should be left empty for nothingness, for all that isness, for self-awareness. And that 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1 more equals 4 opens the door to your core and sets you free. They repeated that to me for decades now. And finally, I asked Tesla one day, do you know what this means? And it was perfect timing because we were receiving all this numerology stuff. And he said, let's put it in the face of a clock and then you'll know what it means. So there you go. That's our quick tidbit on numerology and sacred geometry. So everything begins with the 1, that is, the 0 of wholeness. And then it divides to experience itself. And then it multiplies and it creates the ability to see itself through the lens of you and me and every unique human being that's here, and put it into a set of circumstance and to see how it can dance through life. It's beautiful. So the numbers are underneath everything. And that's why we see the triple digits when we're aligned. It's spirit speaking to us. It's the universe speaking to us that we're in alignment, we're in the flow, we're in harmony, and we're letting go of the rigidity of control and allowing ourselves to be swept with the current of life and the current of spirit to take us where we're supposed to go. That's when the triples will really start to show. And they're just little reminders, mile markers, signs along the way to say, hey, you're in the flow, you're letting go, and we can feel that you're evolving your consciousness, you're becoming more aware. So these are little signs and signals to say you're well on your way. So that's my sharing today with Tesla and numerology and sacred geometry and Metatron's cube. We'll move into our meditation next.